Hi guys, welcome. Good to see you. If this is your first time here, it is Bold TV, and this is just a storytelling channel. I basically do book reviews, and today I'm just gonna do book review on this book. And the title of the book is "What Does Trust Mean to You?" So I'm just picking up a line. I'm not reviewing the whole book. I'm just picking up a line on page 141. I think it's 146. Page 146. That's correct. It's about trust advance. Trust advance. Because anytime someone hears trust, you think of betrayal. Anytime you hear about trust, you think like relationships, which in most cases, of course, it does involve that, but that's not the only notion that comes along anytime you hear about trust. Trust is actually quite vast. And in the previous video, we talked about a trust advance. Basically, the notion behind that is, how about, you start trusting fast. How about you trust in advance? You trust someone before they trust you. Will that do it? And the classic example is that I used in the previous video is, say for example, you somewhere maybe in downtown, and you see someone struggling with luggages, and they look like they need help, but they are not asking for help. So you just jump in and try to help them, and because you're a stranger, and they are going to be like a little bit hesitant, but they can't really say to you because they kind of need the help, right? And in a way, because they let you do it, that is, they are basically giving you that a little bit of degree of trust for you to even touch their luggage, right? But you jumping in there to see that someone needs help. So you are basically gambling. And actually some people do say no. You'll see that they are struggling, but they're like, no, sorry, it's okay, I got it. But some will actually say they will take the help. So the notion here is you are just trying to, to have them trust you in advance before you guys. And in most cases, they will actually be happy that you help them. And at times it might actually end up in conversation. You might end up talking like, hey, how are you? Where are you going? And blah, blah, blah. Or where are you coming from? Or are you traveling? You guys might even, will help break an ice, and you guys can have, small chats. And the other example of a trust advance is when there is a situation, you are not sure whether you are actually right or wrong. You just apologize in advance, right? That also not only shows maturity, but you're trying to just reconcile a situation, right? And you are trying to, again, that is a classic example of a trust advance or trust in advance, whether you are right or wrong, but you are just apologizing in advance because for example, you want peace. And the notion behind trust, why should we start trusting in advance? Maybe that will start letting us see trust differently, right? We might end up seeing trust differently if we start trusting in advance. If we start, let's say, being loyal in advance, for example, try to be helpful in advance. And there are a lot of people that are actually good with that. And the other examples that we can use in everyday scenario is like even attending an event, for example. You attend an event and you notice that, wow, they are very busy, they are trying to arrange the room or whatnot. And even before someone asks you, you just, jump in and you're trying to create a dialogue and build a dialogue and try to start a conversation and all that. But in a bigger picture, whether trust advance is going to start make us re-evaluate how we can deal with trust. This notion, sometimes it can be confusing to some people, because you really need to start thinking backward, right, on how we do things as far as trust is concerned. And I used a classic example also in previous videos. Sometimes someone will be betrayed. When someone betrays you, if they betray your trust, do you blame them or do you blame yourself? And I used examples in my previous video, and also in my other book. The title of the other book is, Be True to Yourself. Are you a loyal friend? And that book is about friendship, but it does also have other issues, situations that involve a lot of other things. But let's keep it to this book here. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is, when someone betrays you, is it them that you blame or you blame yourself? And the reason I'm asking is, sometimes you might have a friend or even a relative, someone that you've known for a very long time, even childhood friends. I find, which I stand corrected, that we make assumption, and part of the betrayal that I see that happen is that we make assumption because someone is your childhood friend. You assume that they're going to be loyal to you. You tell them something and you hear it in the streets and it's not a secret anymore. You make assumption that because someone is your relative, they're going to be loyal to you. You make assumption is because you are twins, maybe you guys are twins, you do everything together. You make assumption that they are going to be loyal to you. Or you make assumption that they will not betray you. What is betrayal? Betray is misplacement of critical information. Say, for example, you've told this one person the critical information, and you tell the person this is a secret and it should not be heard anywhere else. And of course, before you know it, everyone in the neighborhood knows about it. And then you wonder, this person betrayed me. But can you say they actually betrayed you? Or it's because you make assumption about that relationship that you have with them? And I always say that we need to always reevaluate your friendship with people and family and whatnot. The reason I'm saying this is not a bad thing. It's actually a very good thing to keep in touch and just to see if they are still the same people. Let me use an immigrant example. Classic immigrant example is, say for example, you left back home and you travel to US or Canada or Europe, and you have this childhood friend that you guys were been friends for a long time. You went to the same high school, college, and you traveled overseas, right? A few years later, you link up. What you don't realize is the moment there is a gap, people change based on the environment and the situation, right? If they are going through hardship change people. Whatever situation people is, because we are humans, and human always evolve. Human evolves every day. Human change and people grow. Growth is not bad. Change is constant. Of course, change is not bad, but it's very important to always evaluate your friendship with people. Always re-evaluate your friendship with people so that you can understand whether you still think alike, if you still reason alike, if you still are on the same page. And sometimes you cannot just make assumption that because you've known them for the longest time, they are still the same, right? I know someone that sent money back home, wanted to buy a house. She kept sending money for them to buy a house. They kept sending her pictures that they are building the house. But in reality, they did not build anything. They used the money to start businesses for themselves. And when she visited, there was no house. That was her own relatives, right? So she trusted them. That's what I'm saying. Always evaluate your friendship with people, with friends. It's not bad. It's always good, because as human we grow. That way you cannot come back and say, oh my God, I was betrayed. Oh my God, I trusted you. What happened, right? Anyways, guys, that is it for now, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Yes.